Welcome to Book Club Preview. I'm Michael, and today we're looking at Lab Girl Chapter 8. And it starts off with the author really wondering what it takes to be a true scientist. And she talks about how a true scientist eventually has to leave the path of formats that are laid out for him or her and to venture out on his or her own. And that's certainly what she does during her dissertation project. And she also says that a lot of students during this point give up, and that kind of weeds out the true scientists from maybe the fake or pretend scientists. And so for her dissertation, she's going to take a seed from this hackberry tree, and this seed is really strong. It's very, very tough. And what she's going to do is she's going to take that seed and she's going to look at it and chop it up and look at the little bits to try and determine the temperature during one of the ice ages. And so looking at the years those seeds were made, and then cutting them open to see what the temperatures might have been based on their chemical composition and things like that. And so she does this. She takes one of the seeds and she uses technology to cut it, to dissolve it, to clean it, to break it down into its kind of most basic parts. And what she finds is inside there's this kind of white lattice. If you think of lattice as like a fence, maybe a garden fence or a balcony fence with crossed beams everywhere like that. And so there's this white material that's surrounding and wrapping the seed in a bunch of different ways. And she wants to find out, this is the strongest material in the seed. She wants to find out what this is. And so she smashes it into fine powder, and she talks about how any chemical or any object can be broken down and broken down and broken down and broken down into its finest bits. And she turns this white lattice into a powder, into its smallest bits, and she takes those and x-rays them in a laboratory. So she decides to go to the lab at night because there's this one strange guy that she doesn't want to see during the day, and she might see him at night, but it's a less probability. But if she sees him at night, it's a little bit more dangerous, so she brings a wrench with her to the lab. But she goes into the lab and she uses the x-ray machine to figure out what this material is. And she finds out that it's an opal. That's actually opal. And when she realizes this, looking at the the information from the x-ray machine, she realizes that she's the only person in the world that knows that this seed is made out of opal. And she just feels like this, I don't know, this feeling of significance, of being special. But it's really crazy because at the same time, she also feels this overwhelming sense of loneliness, of thinking about how the seed is reproducing, but how she doesn't have a boyfriend, or she's not married, she doesn't have any kids, and she's alone. And so there's this really weird kind of event, and she calls it like one of the loneliest nights of her life. It's one of the specialists, one of the most special, because she knows something that no one else in the universe knows. But at the same time, she's not thriving herself as a species, as an individual. Luckily, she ends up going back to her lab, and Bill's there. And thank goodness Bill is there. And she tells Bill everything. And Bill says, I knew I was sitting here waiting for something, and this was it. And she also talks a little bit about Bill in this story and how what a great friend he is. So now that she's figured out this material, she's also learned how she can tell what the temperature is when it was created. And so this leads her to phase 2. And she talks about how she's going to do that, but I'm not going to get into it. She talks about phase 2 of her dissertation. Phase 2 is to look at some present plants, some present hackberry trees, take the seeds that are born this year, slice them up, and use that technology to match this year's temperatures with the findings that she finds from these seeds. Okay, pretty simple. She just needs to prove that her theory will actually work. Well, she finds these trees and she's waiting for them to have fruit and flowers, and nothing happens. For whatever reason, this year, those hackberry trees that she was going to study don't produce any fruit. And she feels really, really depressed about this. There's a whole bunch of different things going on. Again, she feels like, oh my goodness, this trees didn't have any fruit, and I don't have any fruit, or let's say children. I don't have any children. What am I doing with my life? And she kind of feels this struggle, but at the same time, she's like, no, I'm not going to give up. Whoops. I'm going to continue, and I'm going to try to look at the world through a tree's eyes. Well, trees don't have eyes, but through a tree's perspective. And that becomes her goal, to understand not why didn't the trees have fruit, but what was the reason that they responded this way into the environment. And that's kind of how the chapter ends. Vocabulary here, prescribed means like pre-written rules or regulations or methods. Dissertation is a really huge, important paper that PhD students have to write, showing their original thought or original experiment. Indigenous means native, original. Nary is means no. It's another way of no. Prodigious just means incredibly unique, special, extraordinary. Heterogeneous means various or mixed. Unequivocally means absolutely, certainly. And I'm not too sure how to pronounce this other one. Maudlin is just kind of like self-pity, depressed. I guess it's an emotional state, I guess. And then tangential means not important, off on a branch, not about the particular task or main idea that you're trying to get to. It's kind of an offshoot. And that leads us to our discussion question. What is, or what was, the loneliest or one of the loneliest times in your life? Of course, please make your own discussion question. That is all the time that we have for today, but thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Book Club Preview. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Hey, if you have any questions about the video today, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. If you had any other vocabulary words that you wanted to know what they meant, let me know. And also, if you're interested in maybe joining one of these book clubs, please leave a comment and I'll get back to you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.